Welcome to Center Hice Productions. Please hit the likes and the subscribes down below in your right hand corner. I would muchly appreciate it. This is a review exactly of what it says. Tonight's game, or I should say last night's game, we're over here now. I had to change the date. It's the 8th to right now as I'm taping a second rerun. Anyway, I'm going to break down the stats very quickly. This was a dead boring game. Habs wasn't a respectable game, I can tell you that. Wasn't impressed whatsoever with what I seen here in this game. First period, we just came up like garbage. Tampa was all over us. I remember seeing the first goal, and I went out, stepped aside, came back. By the time I came back, because I had something to do, it was 3-0. So anyway, 32 to 26 shots. So that's still a lot of shots, but we've had worse. 26, yeah, we needed to get more, there's no doubt. So 4 goals in the first period for Tampa, 3 goals by the Habs, and 1 goal by Tampa in the third. 5-3 was your final score. Tompkins got his first victory out of 3 games for Tampa, so I think they may have found their backup goaltender. Kucherov had a goal and an assist for Tampa. He was on the board right away. And Tompkins made 22 saves. Nicholas Pahal scored twice. And those were the biggest stories. Kucherov was the first star. 1 goal, 1 assist, +1. A. Barre Boulay was the second star. 1 goal, -1. Sam Montembeault was the third star, which he came into the game, made 22 saves, only 1 goal against, which was pretty good. 9.957 save percentage, which was pretty darn good. He did. So now it's like I said, Allen came apart at the seams and didn't look sharp tonight at all. But however, our defense is looking sloppier, and again, I mean it's the entire team. With the breakdown of how their defensive coverages, they're just playing so sloppy right now, and lackadaisic. Their compete levels got to go way up. So anyway, scoring starts with Nikita Kucherov, assisted by Brendan Hagel at 22 seconds. Bang! That was that first goal. I told you that was there. And Braden Point, they had an assist on it as well. Second goal. 7:15, and Nicholas Paul, assisted by Stamkos and Hedman. Alex Barre Boulay, assisted by Brandon Hagel and Sergachev on the power play, and Mikhail Esamont, assisted by Victor Hedman and Chernak. For your 4 goals, no scoring in the second. I think it was the second period we had the scrap between Arbor and Janot, and not much of a fight, and it kind of looked like Arbor didn't win the fight. However, I will say when I looked at it closer, I did notice a lot of the punches thrown by Janot did not connect. So he looked like he won because he was throwing more punches. Arbor looked like he was asleep in that fight. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, he got a couple good shots in when he did swing. However, not much of a fight. Then we got to the third period. Nick Suzuki finally opens the scoring for the Habs at 6:50, just by Cole Caulfield, Sean Monahan on the power play, which is fun. Getting one here and each game it seems. Michael Pezzetta scores not long after, 7:24, just by Jake Evans and Gooley. This was a very nice goal with a nice shot from the point from Gooley, and this is what we need more of. And Gooley by far was the best defenseman for the Habs. He's been all over the place. Just incredible. I couldn't believe there was a call interference play on him, but he took him out at the blue line. And then why that wasn't called when he took him out right from the waist, and you seen Gooley flying in the air, and Gooley's like, "What? You're not calling that?" It was total interference. But that's the refs for you. And then anyway, then at 17:40, on a power play. Nicholas Paul comes back and scores, assist by Kucherov and Stamkos. And a beautiful goal at 1941, right towards the end. Pass from Harris, well, from Barron to Harris, and Harris right up to Dvorak, and Dvorak split the defense. I don't think they were expecting it, and you might say not flashy on Dvorak a lot of times that he's criticized. Well, this was pretty darn good, a pretty goal, and he just wired it in that top shelf. Beautiful goal by Dvorak. Probably was the highlight for the Habs. But nice to see Suzuki scoring each game since he's gotten his first goal. And his stats: 32 shots to 26 for favor of Tampa, 19 to 13 in hits for favor of Habs, 27 to 30 faceoffs in favor of the Habs, 2 for 5 power plays, for Tampa, and 1 for 6. We got to get better at that still. Should have done better. And penalty minutes: 19 to 21 in Tampa, and giveaways 10-10. Takeaways 5-3 for the Habs. Block shots 17 to 12 for Tampa. So yeah, it was a game. Very, like I said, Tampa came out to play immediately and took it to the Habs immediately, and it's like Tampa's always up for the Habs. It seems to be one of their almost like since they've been created, brought into the league, they've always taken a liking to using the Habs as the team they want to beat. That's just something I've sensed since they've been in the league. Anyway, not a pleasant showing by the Habs. Kind of disgraceful, to tell you the truth. Allen looked bad in that first period. Glad he got pulled. However, in defense of the goalies all year long, it's a lot of breakdowns by the defense as well. Especially been noticeable since Vegas' game. The Habs have gotten sloppy since then. I don't know what's happened, but getting consistency seems to be a problem. The old man line is doing well. Tonight I can say Gallagher looked like one of the better players for the Habs with Gooley and Pearson and Monahan. That line looks good. That's probably our best line. Caulfield and Suzuki and Slav looked all right. They had their ups and downs. Still, there's still things to fine tune, but I still think can't just throw them together for a short period and take them apart. Let it gel a bit. Anyhow, that being said, yeah, it wasn't a pretty game. Dvorak played very well. Newhook, he's got the speed, but he's not been impressing me of late either. So, not overly impressed with what I've seen out of his game. Anderson, and one thing I can say about Anderson while we're knocking him, you don't want to be playing on his line, that's for sure. Seems to be the consensus. And that's why it seems like that second line, which really is more like the third. It seems like anybody who was on Anderson's line is having a hard time gelling with him. And it's a style of play he plays. It's very, I don't know what you're going to do. One thing I can commend Anderson on is he's been the one guy playing a little bit of better defensive hockey. It's just his offensive game's gone to the boots. I don't know there's no IQ or anything put into the game onto his line when he's out there. Dvorak had a strong game as well. Dvorak's been fairly strong since he came back. Criticize him as you like. However, there's a lot of opinionated comments made on certain channels that like to produce false news, and it irritates the heck out of me. Before tonight, Allen was definitely the leader in the net. I'd say it's starting to slip now, and good on Montembeault. Now, if we can get him to start playing like this, that's what we want to see. This needs to happen for Monty, but it doesn't mean that he's the starter yet. I think it's now we're starting to see a challenge. and that's the way it's looking like. So we'll see what happens with it. It always seems to start off that way, where Allen starts the season better, then starts to slide, and then Monty takes over. So, but it's a little early. So God knows. I think it's also time that throw the odd game Primo's way just to give him a chance. Wouldn't hurt a thing right now. But I don't know what's going on with us in our defensive zone. Um, for Slav, he's got to get more physical. He's got a big body. He's got to start chucking it that weight around a lot more. I mean, more aggressively. Uh, don't get. I don't want to see him become a Yoel Armia, handing out roses and wanting to dance on the ice. Is just a big joke. There's a line that's got some problems right now. The only one that seems to show up every night has been Jake Evans, and sad because I think Yolonen was doing a better job consistently with Jake Evans. I don't know what's wrong with Pizzetta. Even though he scored, that was more luck than anything. If he doesn't crank his game up, he will not be a Hab for long, because last year he proved us wrong, and that was great. I was in his corner, always for an underdog, but this year he's not showing that same drive and initiative he's had. So for me and Armia, I just wish he wasn't in Montreal anymore. I just wish he was down in Laval. He showed up for his first game back. That was it. To be expected. So that forward line, unfortunately, got buried. Defensive partners, I don't know what's wrong with, again, a guy on defense. Matheson has been horrible for the last 4 or 5 games. I think he's injured, personally, but something's wrong. Doesn't look like himself. Kasevich is a little shaky with him. Goalie is by far the best defenseman out there for the Habs. There's no and, ifs, and buts. Harris looks good with them. Or Barron, I'm sorry. But Barron has some off moments. But he's looked, like there's been improvements in his game. But he's had some off moments, games like tonight. And Harris and Jack-Eye. And Jack-Eye, I still think he needs to be with Kasevich. Jack-Eye played better, though, defensively tonight. Not outskated so much. However, I think they've got to utilize him more, too. And I think he should be utilized much more on the power play. I don't know what we're doing while we keep throwing Matheson there. Matheson doesn't have a shot. So I think it'd be more important to get, if I was in charge of that thing, the power play, I'd be in more, I mean, if you wanted to use Matheson as a forward, in a forward position, then fine. But for the point, I think from the point area, you got to have Jack-Eye and Goalie. Like I said, Goalie took a shot there tonight, and Jack-Eye's got to get back to that, although he didn't have many opportunities 5-on-5. But he's got to get. I think he's working on. He needs a confidence boost right now himself. But other than that, very boring game. We got Detroit Thursday. I don't expect much. Detroit always plays us hard. So now you're seeing the true Habs. This is a bottom 5 team. You shall see now. Like I say, there's I've seen some comments there made on Tony Marinaro's show, and I'll probably talk about that more later. This game just kind of depressed me a little too much. But just some topics, and same with this other channel tends to put out a bunch of BS news that their sources come out with garbage, and they just want to promote and get it out there, and then these trades they make up, and they're automatic with doing that. I won't do that. If that's the trend, putting false news out, not going to happen here. So thank you for joining me. It was a very, sorry to say, go Habs go, but we got to get out of this rut. We're not playing well. Spurts, we played a good third period. That's when we showed up. Period 1 and 2 weren't there, and that's been the story for the last 4 games, at least 3 or 4 games. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Please hit the like and subscribe. Muchly appreciate your support. Leave your comments. Be interested in this, what you thought of it. This game put me to sleep pretty much. Very boring. But yeah, just be, respectful when you leave your comments, because we will not tolerate unacceptable comments here. We're not that type of community. So thank you for joining me. We're Spuck Drop First here at Center Hice Productions. We will catch you in the next episode in the review after the Detroit Red.